The Tortoise and the Hare. Once upon a time, there was a tortoise and a hare. The hare was very proud of his speed, and he liked to show off how fast he could run to everyone in the forest. The tortoise was slow but steady, and she always moved at her own pace. One day, the hare was making fun of the tortoise for being too slow.
"Have you ever reached your destination?"
he asked mockingly. The tortoise replied, "Actually, I'm faster than you might expect. I will challenge you to a race and prove it."
"Is this some kind of joke?" "You are so funny,"
said the hare.
"I will lap you several times before you cross the finish line. I have never lost a race,"
he bragged.
"In fact, I am so confident I challenge anyone here to race against me."
The tortoise said quietly, "I accept your challenge. Let's see if you can back up your words with action. Are you brave enough to race against me and prove your speed? If you are swift and quick on your feet, then winning should be an easy feat. Now, let's race." The hare thought it was hilarious to race against a slow-moving tortoise, and just for the sake of amusement, he agreed to the challenge.
"Sure,"
replied the hare. "Then, let's proceed," announced the tortoise. "And the fox will have the final say on who wins." So, a course was set for the next day. All the animals gathered to watch the race begin.
Fast and slow, swift and steady, which one will win with such glee? Only time will tell, so let's wait and see who will be the winner ultimately.
With the fox serving as the judge, the distance had been marked, and with the wave of the flag, the runners were set in motion and the race started. The fast hare took off in a flash. He darted almost out of sight at once. The tortoise, who moved slowly and steadily, trailed behind the hare as he sprinted ahead. With the intention of humiliating the tortoise and emphasizing how absurd it was for her to even attempt to race against him, the hare lay down beside the course to take a nap and wait for the tortoise to catch up, demonstrating how far behind she was and how hopeless her efforts were in trying to keep up with him.
"Why bother racing with me?"
the hare taunted the tortoise.
"I might as well eat dinner here waiting for you. At your pace, you won't arrive for a couple of days."
The hare leisurely took a nap, but the tortoise was too far behind to hear the hare's taunts. Meanwhile, the tortoise continued on her way, not giving up, despite being far behind the hare. She kept moving towards the finish line without stopping. So, the little tortoise kept on inching down the road, and, at last, the slow walker reached the sleeping hare. He was in such deep sleep that he was unaware of the tortoise passing cautiously and carefully by him. After a while, he woke up from his nap, only to realize that he had overslept, and to find that the determined tortoise was already far ahead of him, nearing the finish line. The sleepy hare quickly started running, but he could not pass the tortoise in time. With her perseverance, the tortoise eventually crossed the finish line first, surprising everyone who was watching the race. The hare was shocked to see that the tortoise had won. He realized that he had been too proud of his speed and had underestimated the determination and perseverance of the tortoise. He understood that the race is not always to the swift.
Slow and steady, yes, slow and steady is the one who claimed victory.
The Ugly Duckling. On a little farm, long ago, lived a cute duck family. Mommy Duck was sitting on her 7 eggs, waiting for her new ducklings to hatch. One sunny morning, the eggs began to hatch. One by one, yellow ducklings stepped out of their shells. They shook their wings with excitement. "Look at you! You are all so cute!" But one large egg was still in the nest. "Well, It looks like that big egg will take more time. So, she had to go sit on her nest again and wait longer. At last, the largest egg hatched. With great confusion, the poor duckling began to look around. His mother and siblings were a bit more confused than he was, because this duck in particular did not look like his siblings. He was built much broader and had gray and white feathers.
What is that? He cannot be one of us.
I have never seen such an ugly duckling.
How can you say such a thing? That's not nice. Now line up. We will go to the lake for your very first swim. Yet the other ducklings quacked.
Ugly, ugly, ugly.
The ugly duckling did not know why the other ducklings were yelling at him. He took the last spot in line. Each yellow duck jumped in the river and swam behind Mama Duck. When it was his turn, the ugly duckling jumped in and started to paddle too. He was a great swimmer. Later on, each time the ugly duckling tried to play with his brothers and sisters, they yelled,
Go away! We will not play with you. You are ugly.
Time was passing, and the ugly duckling was growing up to be different. All the animals on the farm were bullying him.
Ugly duckling, ugly duckling, ugly duckling.
Mother Duck, on the other hand, was doing her best to protect him. She couldn't bear to see that poor child so sad. But as the days passed, the poor ugly duckling was feeling worse. All night long he would silently cry.
Just because I am ugly doesn't mean everyone has to be mean. No one wants to play with me or even talk to me.
One day, one of the yellow ducklings said to the ugly duckling,
You know what? You would do us all a big favor if you leave.
Get out, get out, get out.
They're right. I should go.
That night, the ugly duckling flew over the farmyard fence and landed on the other side of the lake. There, he met two grown-up ducks.
Can I please stay here for a while? I have nowhere else to go.
What do we care? Just don't get in our way.
Suddenly, a big hungry dog came chasing the two ducks. They quickly flew up in the air. The poor ugly duckling froze in fear. The dog sniffed and sniffed at the ugly duckling, then turned away.
I am even too ugly for the big hungry dog.
Ugly Duckling began to move along. Soon after, an empty lake appeared.
Well then, if nobody wants me, I will hide here forever.
Even though he was all alone, he was very happy. One day, he saw a horde of white long-necked birds migrating to the south. How beautiful they are! I wish I could be like them. Winter came and snow began to fall, so it was hard to find food. Cold and tired, trying to forage, the ugly duckling came across a farmer.
Poor thing, you must be freezing. I'll take you home and look after you till you grow.
Indeed, the farmer took good care of the ugly duckling. When spring arrived, the ugly duckling had grown. The farmer took him back to the lake to give him more space to move around freely. The ugly duckling looked at his reflection in the water, but he was amazed at what he saw. At first, he couldn't recognize himself. He thought there was someone else behind him. So he flipped his wings and noticed that his reflection was doing the same thing. He stretched out his neck, and his reflection continued to mirror his movements. Right then, he knew that this amazing bird was no one other than himself.
Oh, how much I've changed! I look like the birds in the sky!
While he was swimming in the lake, he came across a wedge of swans. They took him along and traveled joyfully together. Finally, the ugly little thing was accepted and loved by his new friends, to whom he belonged. A boy at the lakeshore yelled out to his friends,
Hey, look at the young one all the way back. Must be the most beautiful swan I've seen.
The swan did not know how to react to so much praise. He felt shy. After being mocked for so long, he couldn't believe he was being appreciated and accepted.
I've never dreamt someone would call me beautiful someday. I wish I had received the same affection when I was the little and ugly creature. I wouldn't have spent such a sad childhood. Why do people treat others according to their looks? That is so sad.
Yes, from the beginning, he indeed was a swan. He was just an unfortunate egg, which got mixed up in between the ducks. But now, he was with his real family, and ahead of him was a happy life.